lonely hearts, troubled minds, looking for a way that we can never find. Many roads are ahead of us, with choices to be made.
Welcome. You are about to take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition show. For the next hour, allow her to prepare you in becoming a magnet for a profound love-infused relationship by identifying and focusing on solutions through love. Awaken the light within and let your essence shine. And now, here's Deborah Beauvais on Love by Intuition, all part of the Dream Vision 7 radio network.
Welcome, everyone. Bonjour, mes amis. And yes, here I am, Deborah Beauvais, founder and owner of the Dream Vision 7 radio network. We are a Boston-based syndicated internet station with all the bells and whistles. You can listen to us anyway, whether you're online, in your car, at home, with your apps. You can ask Alexa to play a Dream Vision 7 radio network, and it's worldwide, syndicated with a number of other stations in Europe and the USA, and so it's all wonderful news. And that's really what we put forth, is uplifting, checking in with your heart, living from that place, and really turning your life into making a difference. And our guest tonight is exactly that type of person. But before I introduce her, I wanted to do a shout out to Off the Hook T-shirts company in Pawtucket, Rhode Island. I had a custom T-shirt made for one of my grandsons, and they did a super job. So a shout out to Off the Hook. Their number is 401-728-7400, and Jesse is the designer and Rick is one of the owners, so let them know that I sent you there. So I'm very excited about our guest, Constance Kellough. She is a founder of Namaste Publishing, founder and meditation teacher at Innerbody Meditation. She's a visionary who popularized the self-help genre, bringing revolutionary spiritual teachings to the forefront of modern culture. Her very first publication, The Power of Now, introduced Eckhart Tolle to the world. And she's brought in many other amazing authors, and really everything has changed the dialogue around conscious parenting, spirituality, and trauma release theories worldwide. So we are going to be talking about her book. She actually has two. She's authored The Chronicles of Bizah, The Student of Truth, which is a neat book, and The How to Inner Peace, A Guide to a New Way of Living. And it starts out with Ever Wondered How? And it just gets into all about the value of mindfulness, and she's going to tell us all about that. And so without further ado, Constance, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Deborah.
You're welcome. So I'm very enthused about what you have. You put your gifts, your purpose, your serving others into action, and here you are. So tell us a little bit about that. In the book you talk about, everybody's looking for their soul purpose or what, service is what it's all about. And when we become conscious and continue on our spiritual journey, we find out that that's where we find the most joy. That's how we find how to love ourselves, is through service to others. So when did the light bulb go off for you? Was it with Eckhart or was it before that?
It was before that. I've always worked with purpose and to be of service, whether I was an English literature teacher at Vancouver Community College or a management consultant, or a publisher. The thread that I see that has run through those three different professions is the same. Even though the form is different, my intention, my mission, my purpose, my joy came from when I was able to bring the word Namaste forward to other people. So they would, the Namaste says, as I recognize the divine light within me, so then I'm able to recognize the divine light within you. So it's an honoring of the divine within you, and it's an honoring of the divine in others when you say Namaste. So always I really wanted people to come to the awareness of their own true magnificence as spiritual beings. We're human, and we know all that goes with being human, and that's where our challenges are, mainly. But we, in order to know who we truly are, we have to also know that we are individual souls, extensions of the divine. And if we don't know who we truly are, it's very difficult to find inner peace.
Right. That is so true. And one of the statements you made, I love it, is you said you can never lose who you truly are. And that's, how so many things we can experience in our day-to-day earth living, that things might be taken away here and there, or someone might want to harm us in some way, but no one can ever take away who we truly are.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We are peace itself. We are joy itself. We are love itself. These are the states of being of our soul. They're not emotions, they're states of being, and these states of being are everlasting or permanent, formless, and are with us all the time. Now,
yes,
they are with us, but do we know how to access the kingdom within? So when I started writing this book, as a publisher, I've seen so many manuscripts come my way, and most of them were highly conceptual. And what I wanted to do, Deborah, was I wanted to move to the experiential. And that's why the How to Inner Peace is highly experiential, because we don't know anything for sure unless we have personally experienced it. What do we know what it's like to be a parent unless we have experienced being a parent?
Right.
What do we know about the gifts and love pets can give us unless we have been with a pet, loved a pet, embraced it? How do we know what inner stillness is unless we have experienced that state of being within? So that was one of the main reasons I wanted to do the how and make it a practical book. We know everyone is looking for inner peace, but how? So here's a little story I'll tell you, and this is in the how. In Vancouver, this fellow went to a 3-day workshop, and the workshop was to kind of facilitate people going into their past, revisiting their wounds that were still there, acknowledging the wounds, and sloughing them off or freeing themselves from those past experiences that were still painful and they were carrying. So at the end of this 3-day workshop, a fellow went up to the instructor and said, "Oh, I've tried so hard, but there's still one thing I just cannot let go of. And I carry this discontent with me all the time." And the instructor said, "Just be here now." And the fellow said, "But I don't know how to be here now." The instructor said, "Just be here now." And the fellow responded, "I don't know how." So this is kind of an indication of the direction this book goes in, because I wanted to say, how do you get in the now? You can say, here I am, sitting in my study, I'm looking out, it's a beautiful day, but am I fully in the now? So the how of now. Also, I think that the zeitgeist of our times, that energy, movement, that feeling, something that captures our times, is the how. There are so many issues and challenges and unknowns facing humanity today. It's right. How do we address them? How do we impede the spread of global warming? How do we free ourselves of systemic racism and so forth? So I really think we're looking for answers. We're looking for the how. And the book, therefore, is very practical, but also, I think, highly inspiring and informative. So we could go back to the how of now, if you'd like.
Sure. Well, one of the things you mentioned, everyone wants to know how, and you mentioned systemic racism, where across the country, especially, and I want to say especially in the U.S. But
it's here in Canada too, yes, but yes. Not as evident or intense, yeah.
Yes. So you talked about the man that, I love the stories, because the stories you can just really feel them, relate to them, and it really explains how one can cultivate their compassion when something. You mentioned that this man was on a train and he was he came back from Vietnam, I believe, and it was after 9/11. It was a few days after, and a big bang happened and everyone came together. They were all sitting, doing, in their own space, not interacting with each other, but once they heard the big bang, then they thought they were being attacked again, then everyone started to come together. And then afterwards, when they realized they were going to be fine, then everyone went back to their space. So just reading that, you think about the human, and how we are created, how we are built to be on this earth. Could you address that? How, what do you feel happens with us? Is it that we are, the love and, the light is within each of us, and yet we get caught up in our own space?
Right. Well, we come together, Deborah, either out of fear or out of love. And so I ended that section saying, what would it take for us to come together, not out of fear, but out of love? So those are the two options. And we're looking at what is happening currently with the COVID situation. And fear is rampant in the world. Fear is rampant. And so we can restrict, step back, and not kind of reach out in terms of being kind to others through taking precautions for ourselves and them. So I really love this kind of movement that is afoot, that is really encouraging us to come together in spite of, the restrictions of getting together, but to come together out of love and to outreach in whatever way you can from your home or when you are out and taking precautions. It's the ego is rampant in the world right now. There is such a high fear factor. And if there is a characteristic of the ego, is that it evokes fear. The spirit within does not bring fear. The spirit within guides us into peace. So we talk about, our individual fear, and it's hard to be at peace in our times. Not that these times are exceptionally challenging compared to other times in history, but they have their own challenges. And what we're learning is that we've got to care for everybody. And this pandemic really brought that home, that we are one. And it's not just managing and controlling and getting the vaccinations not in our own city, country. It has to be for the whole world. This is how it's going to be contained, and we're going to be able to move on. So it's really beautiful that if we see this as an opportunity to care for one another, to reach out to one another in whatever way we can, if only a silent prayer or a blessing or a donation, that's wonderful. The ego it's the biggest challenge, I think, of our times. And we've had the ego since, our frontal lobe was sufficiently sized to have self-reflected consciousness. The ego was born out of a construct for protection. We were hunters and gatherers and all that, and we needed to fight for our food. We needed to fight to protect our family and clan. We had to just fight to defend ourselves. So that is built deeply, deeply into the DNA and the psyche of the human being. It was a construct of protection, and it still is today. So we don't want to demonize the ego because it still plays a specific function and still helps us protect ourselves when we are careful when we cross the street, when we buckle up our seatbelts, when we teach our children the rules of the road and so forth. So that's the healthy part of the ego. But the predominant part of the ego is really very troublesome. It's very negative, and it can, the Buddha said it this way: whenever the mind is not focused, the ego can do more harm to you than any enemy to enemy, any foe to foe. So I think because the ego is so rampant in the world and it's so evident out there, this is a time that we have to be challenged to overcome the ego and move into our true essence, which is a spiritual being. And so it's hard, and I think the ego is putting up a real fight now, because I think there are more conscious people on the planet now than ever before. And this is the struggle. I don't want to say good and evil, but it's fear or love. And if you want to find out where the ego is, hunt the fear. Wherever there's fear, it's the ego. And So when our mind is not focused on something, when we're not engaged in something we love, the ego has full reign to just go along our lifeline and pick, and bring up things that cause fear. It'll go to the past, it'll go to the future, the present moment it doesn't like because there's no fear in the present moment. So this is, I think, our biggest challenge, to recognize the ego when it is working in us, and it's working most of the time.
Yes.
But to witness it, and when you witness it working within you, there's a distancing from the ego, and so you're already not hostage to the ego, let me say. And,
right. And you're seeing people.
And there are many manifestations. Pardon?
I was just going to say, and you're seeing people as spirit. You're seeing yourself as spirit as well as others, instead of the enemy or in an argument or such.
Right, but also we have to recognize that we are human beings, and the ego is with us.
Whether we want it or not.
I don't think the ego will leave us until the body's been officially declared dead for 10 minutes.
Yes.
I mean, it's very tenacious.
We need to take up. Constance, we need to take our first break, if we may,
okay.
And so we'll be back. And when we come back, I'd like for you to explain inner body meditation and the difference between that and regular meditation for the listeners. Everyone, this is a live show. Bob is in the house, and if you would like to call in, if you have a question or a thought for Constance, our number here is 833-220-1200. 833-220-1200. We'll be back in a moment.
Experience a different yet profound healing with Reconnective Healing. Includes yet expands beyond any and all known forms of energy healing. The Reconnective Healing spectrum is comprised of the full healing and evolutionary continuum of energy, light, and information. It allows for healings that are not just physical, not just mental, not just emotional, yet go beyond that to bring healing that includes the evolution of your very being and essence. Deborah Beauvais, trained and certified by world-renowned Dr. Eric Pearl, offers appointment hours at Seacock Family Chiropractic in Seacock, Massachusetts. For questions or to set up both distance or local sessions, call Deborah at 508-431-1959. Again, 508-431-1959. Or go to lovebyintuition.com. That's lovebyintuition.com.
Take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition show, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Eastern. Our message is love in the purest form. The light within us all is a guide to recall our beginning, to learn to love self and humankind, and to feel the higher power of our own divinity. To attract love, one needs to be love. Come join us and step into this glorious vibration called love.
After narrowly surviving the attack on Sandy Hook Elementary, first grade teacher Caitlin Roy DeBellis was left searching for answers that would never come. Eventually, she chose to focus on questions that could be answered. How do I make sure this tragedy doesn't define us? How do we get our control back? Those two questions led her to found the 501c3 nonprofit organization Classes for Classes. When gifts poured into their classroom, she decided they would help someone else by paying it forward and being kind. This developed into a social network which allows K-8 classrooms to connect so that every student in the United States can learn these crucial lessons. Classes for Classes' mission is to build students' social-emotional intelligence by connecting them to care. All C4C projects are crowd-funded. Any teacher in the U.S. can visit classesforclasses.org. That's classes, the number 4, classes.org. Sign up today.
Delight your kids with an enchanting journey by reading the Paper Doll Kids children's book by Deborah Beauvais and Janine Sullivan. There's even a catchy tune, Kids for Love Song, produced by Bob Sherwood and sung by kids just like yours. The story weaves around 7 paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds as they bring important attention to our endangered animal friends. There's even a magical ring with a universal message. Kids become interested in service projects, action through compassion, and planting seeds that nurture positive change. The Paper Doll Kids and Kids for Love Song are a production of the Kids for Love Project. Get the book now on Amazon Kindle and the song on CD Baby or iTunes.
Looking for a fun and relaxing getaway? Omega Rest and Rejuvenation Retreats are a great way to unwind and renew your spirit. You can stretch your body, quiet your mind, and do as much or as little as you choose. Join us in May and we'll waive the daily fees. Located in Rhinebeck, in New York's beautiful Hudson Valley, Omega's natural environment and quiet pace allow for extraordinary experiences to unfold. Learn more at eomega.org or call 877-944-2002. That's 877-944-2002.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
And we are back. We are Dream Vision 7 Radio Network is the media partner for the Omega Institute in Rhinebeck, New York, that you just heard about. And we've been doing, or should I say they've been doing, online webinars and such, but they are opening up for face-to-face in their beautiful retreat space in New York come August. So stay tuned because there'll be some specials that we'll be offering because of that very partnership. I also wanted to mention that we are with Constance Kellough, who is founder of Namaste Publishing, as well as a meditation teacher at Innerbody Meditation. And her book, The How to Inner Peace, is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network's April Book of the Month. And we have a drawing every month for 3 books. Book of the Month, one of our hosts, radio hosts, most of them are authors, as well as the Kids Book of the Month. How you get involved is just sign up, go on our site, Dream Visions, all one word with an S on the end, the number 7radio.com, and hit newsletter and giveaway. Sign up for our free newsletter. It's constant contact, so it's safe and all, and you'll be in the drawing every month. So that's neat. And then one other thing before we get back to Constance, if you would like to get in touch with her, you can go on her site. It's Constance, and last name is K as in kind, ELLOUGH, Constance Kellough. ConstanceKellough.com. Also, you can go on Namaste Publishing, Namaste, as we know, NAMASTE, publishing.com. So before the break, I wanted to hear about the inner body meditation, and you go through this step by step in the book, again, the how-to, Constance. So go right ahead and share.
Well, it may come as a surprise to many that the way to find out who we truly are and to live from our divine essence is we have to go through the body. So what is inner body meditation? I'm not talking about your lungs and your kidneys and bones and that. I'm talking about within the body, there's a field of universal consciousness. Yet at the same time, and paradoxically, it holds within it all this consciousness. So when we put our attention, I want to just, let me just start by kind of putting inner body meditation in context. There's 2 quotes. One is by Eckhart Tolle. Awareness of the inner body is consciousness remembering its origin and returning to source. And by Gurdjieff on presence, he says, it is the only way, only by grounding our awareness in the living sensation of our bodies, that the I am, or the real presence, can be awakened. So in inner body meditation, we go into the body, and with our attention and intention, we ignite the consciousness that has always been there, but we ignored it, or we didn't know how to access it and ignite it. So inner body meditation is a very wonderful way to speed up becoming a conscious being, because you can go into the body, and through your intention and attention, let's say now we're putting our attention and intention to activate the consciousness within our right hand. We can close our eyes. We will not see our hand, but we can feel the animating life force within it. So through inner body meditation, one can activate the consciousness within the whole body. And the more you do that, the easier it becomes to awaken that consciousness and live from that sensation of the consciousness within you, the divine consciousness, and bring that to all of your experiences and your relationships. That's presence. When you come from the inner body and you're also in the world engaging as life brings things forward to you. It's a beautiful experiment to try once you are practiced in inner body meditation. And after you are really practiced in it, at will you can enter the body, and you can enter the full body. You can feel it as one energy field. So it's a wonderful thing to be able to be a walking field of presence in the world. So that it's like the kingdom is within, the kingdom is within. And we've heard that for thousands of years.
Yes.
And yet, have we ever found out how to access the kingdom within? To me, it's inner body meditation. There are so many benefits to it. When we give attention to our inner body, every single cell, the trillions of cells in the body, just sing with appreciation, because you're acknowledging them, you're valuing them. You feel alive, more alive, as you practice inner body meditation. And so it requires a setup, so to speak, an introduction, a how, and that's why I would really recommend, if anyone wants to explore this very powerful and very needed form of meditation, to get the book and read it. There's a lead-in and kind of a lead-out, but I really think the heart of the book is the chapter on inner body meditation. And then once you've read the book, you can go to my website, and you can be guided in a full inner body meditation that I've led in the voice. So you don't have to think, you just follow. And I've tried to keep it almost exactly as to how it is in the book, so that people are familiar with it. I would like to be able to take you through that experience right now, but it's difficult in this short time frame.
Yes.
And yes, but to just even sit and activate the consciousness within your hands and then your feet, and notice that it's simply by your attention and putting your attention in the body and your intention to activate that universal love consciousness that it happens. Sometimes I'll take people and I'll say, okay, now activate the right foot. Put your attention, be easy, be gentle, just activate with love, the love energy within you. And they feel the foot become animated, and then I will say, okay, now put your attention on your big toe. And suddenly they feel the big toe. It comes alive for them simply because of their intention to do that. So it's universal consciousness that we can access within our own being. And as we do that, we can access those gifts of inner knowing, of intuition, of becoming more of who we are. Because when you practice inner body meditation, you take your attention away from the compulsive monkey mind that is often so disturbing, because you're putting your attention in the body and you're feeling that, and that is where your attention is. It's focused intention. So the thinking mind is really quieted by that.
Right. I have to say that for those that may not know the feeling, some people will feel a kind of a coolness. Others will feel heated up. For myself, I get little tingles, and they're just most glorious tingles that usually start in my toes and go through the body, and I just love, love, love that. The other thing I think that you mentioned that I so agree with is taking time even, after the deep of meditation and thank your body. Thank all the parts of your body for working, even those that may not work properly in your own mind, or maybe you have some kind of disability, but thanking your hands, your toes, your legs, your heart, everything for working for you. I bet, I bet you do that often.
Well, when you appreciate something, when you give thanks for it, there is a response from what you appreciate and you give thanks for. So the more you thank your body and abide in that inner body energy, that sizzling, vibration, whatever, and it does move, as I say in the book, consciousness, once ignited, will often just find its own path and know where to go without even your intention to do so, to take it to that area of the body. So when we feel warmth in the body, it's usually that consciousness has been ignited. It's kind of a confirmation. When we feel cold, it's usually a feeling of it's very different from the feeling of the heat in the body, but it's a beautiful sign that you are now integrating the consciousness that has awoken to another level within you.
Yes. Yes. Well, we're going to be going for another break. One of the I love the stories as mentioned earlier, and you speak of Viktor Frankl in the Holocaust and the camps. What is fascinating, I'm just fascinated. I ask a lot of questions in life, and I'm fascinated by the human, including myself, of course. I'm all in there with with assumptions and everything else that the human does. But he speaks of when people were in the camps, some of the most healthy, strong people were the ones that didn't make it, and some of the physically looking at them were weaker, and yet they survived, and a lot of it he attested to with purpose. They had family, or they were writing a book, or there was something that they were looking forward to. Can you speak to that for a minute or so?
Right now? Absolutely. Well, Frankl said, based on his experience in the camps, that a man or a woman who has a why to live can bear with any how. And in the book, I give one of his case studies because it's so crystal clear. There was a very high-profile, very successful man, worldly man, and he lost his wife. And that absolutely felled him. He went into depression. He didn't want to engage in life. He just was taken out, so to speak. And somebody suggested that he see Viktor Frankl. So he went to see Frankl, and it took only 1 hour with Viktor Frankl for this man to come back into life. And he said, Frankl said to this gentleman, okay, he listened, of course, to how this man's grief was affecting him. And then he asked one question: what would happen if you had died first? And he loved his wife so much, he knew that if he died first, she would be experiencing this agony, this pain, this sense of loss that he was now. So it was almost like by she dying first, he was saving her from that experience he was going through. And then he found meaning in his suffering. And we've often been told, try and find the meaning in your suffering. And there's so much suffering, and the only reason I believe it's here is that because I don't think we should be suffering. Not as, well, as humans, yes, but not our spiritual self should be suffering. The only reason we suffer is because we still need to suffer to grow. Once we no longer need suffering to get the lessons, the corrections from, the growth from, we won't need to suffer anymore. So to me, that's the only reason I can think of that we need to suffer, because we need to continue to grow in consciousness, in awareness of our true self. So, yeah.
Well, and so we're going to be off for a break, but when we come back, let me ask you, there's a lot of people out there that teach that we don't. Suffering is a mindset. We all have soul growth while we're here, but do we really have to suffer, or are we telling ourselves that we have to suffer? So hold that thought, Constance.
Okay, and if we have time, because this is heart-based, I'd like to talk about the wisdom of the heart.
Absolutely. Okay. We'll be back in a moment.
Take a journey to a place of the divine love within with Deborah Beauvais on the Love by Intuition Show, Monday through Friday at 6 p.m. and 6 a.m. Eastern. Our message is love in the purest form. The light within us all is a guide to recall our beginning, to learn to love self and humankind, and to feel the higher power of our own divinity. To attract love, one needs to be love. Come join us and step into this glorious vibration called love.
Are you searching for a way to help create global change? Dream Vision 7 Radio Network's vision is to have an eclectic group of radio hosts dedicated to educating, enlightening, and helping humankind with positive messages and tools that enhance lives using different modalities and programs. If you would like to join our team and help illuminate the universe, call Deborah at 508-226-1723 or Deborah at dreamvision7radio.com.
Delight your kids with an enchanting journey by reading the Paper Doll Kids children's book by Deborah Beauvais and Janine Sullivan. There's even a catchy tune, Kids for Love Song, produced by Bob Sherwood and sung by kids just like yours. The story weaves around 7 paper dolls flying around the world doing good deeds as they bring important attention to our endangered animal friends. There's even a magical ring with a universal message. Kids become interested in service projects, action through compassion, and planting seeds that nurture positive change. The Paper Doll Kids and Kids for Love Song are a production of the Kids for Love Project. Get the book now on Amazon Kindle and the song on CD Baby or iTunes.
Why are we here? How can we be happy? Questions asked from millennials to boomers. Crappy to Happy, Sacred Stories of Transformational Joy answers them using true stories of grit, grace, and love. James Redfield, author of The Celestine Prophecy, wrote in the foreword, "This book is a seminar about emerging truths and offers grounded solutions through the art of the comeback." Dr. Bernie Siegel, a contributing author, wrote, "Bodies die, but spirits and consciousness survive and recycle." So, grab some tissues, open your book, and prepare to cry and laugh till it heals. Crappy to Happy by Reverend Ariel Patricia and Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas. Available from Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and booksellers worldwide.
It's a child's job to play, to learn, and to have fun. It's an adult's job to keep them safe. Did you know that 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will be sexually abused before the age of 18? Every day, families enter the Children's Advocacy Center because a child's courage to tell someone what happened to them. Keeping our children safe starts with a conversation. This is Michelle Aranger, Executive Director of the Children's Advocacy Center. Learn more on how to keep your child safe. Visit cacofbc.org. This message made possible by the Fall River Rotary Club.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.
We are talking about the How to Inner Peace, a Guide to a New Way of Living by Constance Kellough. It is a book that I think you should have nearby every day, and you can pick it up and read a little bit after you've read it a couple of times, but just pick it up. I found just feeling comforted and just loved by reading the words in the book. So get your copy. Everyone, as I mentioned, as you know, when I'm really excited about a book, I want everyone to have it. So Constance, if you may answer my query, and then we'll get into the heart.
Okay, fine. That's great, Deborah. So you just repeat the question again to refresh myself.
Oh, I was saying that, we do suffer, yes, on this earth through our experiences, but there are those that feel as though and I think we need to suffer and be with it for a while, but we don't have to suffer for 30 or 40 years. Our minds can retrain ourselves to find the joy in life. And our loved ones would want us to feel the joy in everyday living.
I agree. The reason for all psychological pain and emotional upset is that we believe that we are the false egoic self. The egoic self is based on a belief of living from a position of separation. So if you identifying with the egoic self feel you're separate from someone, then you have to compete against them. You have to see if you're better than, make judgments others are lesser than. You have fears you're not going to make it. If you do, maybe around the corner the shoe will drop and you're not going to make it that time. All of these fears create psychological pain. It's so very, very real. Everyone has experienced it. Let's put that, experienced it. So we know that stress brought upon by the ego and the psychological and emotional upset can lead, and usually does lead, to physical pain, to something that goes wrong in the body. And that is very real. It's hard to deny, that you have a pain in your stomach or have a searing headache, because it takes all of our attention and we identify with that physical pain. If somebody could, find a way that we could ease our physical pain, and we do it through all kinds of drugs and alcohol and that if we could find a way, that would be fantastic. The only thing I can suggest when you have physical pain is to take your attention away from where the pain is and put it on another part of the body where there is no pain, where there's just health. And that distancing from the loci of where the pain is can really assist in softening the pain, in starting to eliminate the pain.
I like that.
I mean, if you're in pain and your body cries out, I'm in pain, and you can't deny it, so that is very real pain. The other pain we can get rid of by identifying when the ego is at play. And it's so beautiful because when you witness yourself and say, oh, that's the ego, oh, that's the fear, oh, why do I go back in this loop all the time and bring this stuff up? It just causes me angst. Recognize that's the ego. Then the beautiful thing, Deborah, is when you can recognize the ego in yourself, you can recognize when it's operating in others and say, that's not them, that's the ego. Beautiful.
Right.
And so most of dogs suffer, for example, pain, but they don't identify with the pain. They don't suffer psychological pain. And even when it's physical pain, they they go back to their happy state. And all they need is to see you and to have some food, and they're happy, and their tails were wagging, but they're still in pain. So can we choose to be happy? In most instances, yes, we can. Can we choose to be pain-free? I don't think we can yet. But that is part of our evolutionary journey to break through to a level of peace, joy, and love. That is our true nature. So we're in process, and I think we're making a lot of progress.
Absolutely.
Yes. So the wisdom within the body is just unbelievable. I mean, it just makes me sizzle when I think of it and tune into it. Just looking at the heart, because your programs are heart-based, the heart is more than just a physical pump. We know that the body is electromagnetic. That's why we can't live without water for more than 3 to 5 days without the organs shutting down, because water is the means of keeping the body alive. It needs that to keep the electric part moving. The heart is the strongest electromagnetic force in the body. It's 70 to 100 times more electrical than the brain, and 5,000 times magnetically stronger than the brain. That's why we can manifest from the heart. The heart has an amazing capacity to manifest. And in the book, I talk about noble intention. And one could also say intention that comes from the heart. It is not egoic. It's a noble intention because it's not for the betterment of yourself, but for others. And when you come from that, it carries such a high vibration that your intent is magnified to you. And I've experienced that over and over again. So we know that the heart is the most powerful manifester, the purity of the heart. And that means the intention, not the organ itself, the intention that emanates from our love. We can know with our heart. We can know with our heart. There are 40,000 neurons in the heart, although the brain, although the heart doesn't have any brain cells in it to speak of. But we can know with our heart. It's our higher intelligence. It has memory. It signals to the brain, and the brain signals back to the heart. But when the brain receives like an aha experience, an awareness, an insight that you can't even put into words. It signals to the brain to access and put into words or into thoughts that non-thinking awareness that we have acquired. It's the heart that signals to the brain to do this. So we know that the heart affects others in an amazing way. When we come from our heart, and people can tell when you're coming from your heart, when you're coming from integrity, when you're coming from service, it's just absolutely evident because there's such an amazing electromagnetic field around the heart that this field affects others around us, including animals, plants, and even machinery. And then we have the auric heart. We all know about the chakras. So there's an auric field, or the chakra of the heart, around the heart. And this connects our physical body with our spiritual body or soul. It's awesome.
If
you
I
look
may
at the solar plexus, they're saying,
Constance, I'm sorry, but we've run out of time.
Okay.
And what a beautiful way.
I always like to give the full load. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay, and I welcome the full load, and we'll have you back. So every word that you're saying is so important to hear. So we'll have you back one day, and everyone out there, thank you so much for honoring our show with your presence. And for everyone out there, listen to the show, share the show with your family members and friends, and until the next time we come together, au revoir.
Namaste, Deborah, and all your listeners. Namaste to you.
Beautiful. Thank you. I'm in gratitude.
Bye-bye.
Are you seeking a clearer path to love? Then tune in to the Love by Intuition show next week. All designed to your highest good. To contact Deborah Beauvais, owner of Empowered Connections, call her at 508-226-1723. That's 508-226-1723. Or link on to lovebyintuition.com. Remember, we are all one, and we are all part of the miracle of love.
This is Dream Vision 7 Radio Network, uniting mankind with universal love. Our shows are created from the heart, bringing each listener to a place of divine enlightenment. Breathe, relax, and enjoy. Let life flow.